At 7:30 a.m., the destroyer USS Higgins slices through the calm waters of the South China Sea. Her gray hull gleams in the morning sun. Radar screens flicker with green blips, unknown contacts approaching fast. Out of the haze, Chinese warships and Coast Guard cutters begin to emerge. On deck, sailors steady themselves. Philippine fishing boats scatter in panic as water cannons erupt nearby. This isn't a battle, not yet. But in these tense moments, a single wrong move could ignite something far greater. This is the story of the day China tried to corner the U.S. Navy at Scarborough Shoal, and how discipline, patience, and sheer resolve prevented disaster. The calm before the storm. From the air, Scarborough Shoal looks peaceful, a ring of coral reefs, turquoise shallows, and scattered fishing boats bobbing gently on the waves. But beneath that surface calm lies one of the most dangerous flashpoints in Asia. Located just 120 miles west of Luzon, Scarborough Shoal lies well within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone, a fact confirmed by a 2016 international tribunal ruling. Yet China has never accepted that decision. Instead, Beijing claims the shoal and most of the South China Sea as part of its so-called 9-dash line. To enforce that claim, it sends warships, Coast Guard cutters, and swarms of maritime militia disguised as fishing vessels. Today, those ships are out in force, and into this contested space sails the USS Higgins, a guided missile destroyer of the Arleigh Burke class. Her mission? Officially a freedom of navigation operation, to assert that these waters remain open and international. But the truth is, every patrol here carries the weight of strategy, politics, and deterrence. The Higgins isn't just carrying missiles, she carries expectations, the hopes of partners who depend on U.S. presence, and the burden of proving that America will not yield to intimidation. Tension rises. On the bridge, the radar team watches a growing cluster of contacts. Chinese ships are closing in, cutting across lanes of approach, deliberately blocking Filipino boats. At 8:05 a.m., the sea still looks deceptively calm, but tension thickens in the air. By 8:30, a 12,000-ton Chinese Coast Guard cutter surges forward, firing high-pressure water cannons at small Filipino fishing vessels. From the Higgins deck, the scene is unmistakable. Beijing isn't just asserting its claim, it's testing how far the U.S. will go. The order aboard Higgins is clear. Hold course. Do not escalate. Defend only if directly threatened. These are the tightest rules of engagement possible. The goal is restraint, not confrontation. Because one mistake, a miscalculated turn, a misunderstood signal, could spiral into international crisis. Every move is recorded. Cameras document everything. Because in this conflict, evidence is as valuable as firepower. Image and control. Beijing's strategy is about image, dominance on display for domestic and global audiences. Chinese ships cut across the shoal while propaganda crews film every maneuver, eager to portray their forces as defenders of sovereignty. But the U.S. strategy is different. It's about stability and control, showing strength through composure. The Higgins crew knows their restraint is being watched not only by China, but by allies from Tokyo to Manila. If the U.S. flinches, Beijing wins a narrative victory. If the U.S. overreacts, it hands China the provocation it wants. Every sailor aboard understands. The true weapon today is discipline. Clash of nerves. At 11 p.m., the rhythm of close passes and blaring horns becomes routine until the skies change everything. A U.S. Navy P-8A Poseidon patrol aircraft appears overhead, relaying real-time surveillance to Indo-Pacific Command. The bridge of the Higgins sounds 5 short horn blasts, the universal danger signal. Weapons remain cold. The message is clear. We see you, we are ready, but we will not be provoked. Moments later, a new contact bursts into view. A small, fast RHIB, rigid-hulled inflatable boat, racing towards the destroyer's starboard side. It darts like a knife, weaving across the waves, closing the distance in seconds. Contact bearing 090, closing fast, the lookout shouts. A voice crackles over the radio. "You are entering Chinese waters. Leave immediately." The Higgins responds calmly, "We are operating in international waters." This is the standoff in miniature. Two powers locked in a dangerous dance of proximity and pride. Training under pressure. Every U.S. sailor on that bridge has trained for this exact scenario. Countless drills simulate close approaches, unpredictable swerves, and radio confrontations. The rules are clear. Never make a sudden move. Never react emotionally. Restraint is not weakness. It's control. The RHIB cuts so close that American cameras can capture faces on its deck. Chinese sailors wave flags and raise their own cameras, turning the encounter into a staged performance for Beijing's media. But on board the Higgins, the mood is all business. No shouting, no panic, just steady voices and calm commands. Helm steady. Maintain course. Because sometimes the most powerful message isn't one shouted, it's one shown through unshaken resolve. Boxed. By 11:45 a.m., the tension peaks. A Chinese Type 052D destroyer shadows close to port, while the massive Coast Guard cutter shifts ahead, boxing the Higgins in from the front. Three vessels, three different sizes and roles, maneuver in a coordinated effort to squeeze the U.S. ship into retreat. But the Higgins holds steady.
On board, silence reigns, except for the churn of engines and the low hum of electronics. Every sailor knows one truth: restraint saves lives. To the untrained eye, it might look like passivity, but in naval terms, this is control of the highest order, the kind that denies your opponent the very justification they seek to escalate. The breaking point. Noon, the shoal explodes into chaos again. Chinese cutters unleash water cannons, forcing Filipino fishermen to scatter. A Chinese frigate veers dangerously close, its gray hull filling the horizon. Spray flashes white across the sea. Horns blare, cameras roll. To the crew, every second feels stretched, every heartbeat amplified. The Higgins stays her course. Maintain course, helm steady. Aye, Captain. In moments like this, power isn't about missiles, it's about willpower, the ability to hold steady when every instinct screams to react. Watching from above. Overhead, the P-8 Poseidon continues its orbit, joined now by an MQ-4C Triton reconnaissance drone, streaming live video back to Pacific Command. Allies across the region watch the feed. They see the Higgins refusing to yield, standing her ground without firing a shot. To them, this isn't just a standoff, it's a signal. Washington's message is clear. The U.S. Navy will sail where international law allows, and it will do so without fear or aggression. Victory measured in inches. At 12:15 p.m., the closest call yet. The Chinese frigate swings across the Higgins' bow at barely 400 yards, a blink of space in open water. The wake crashes against the destroyer's hull, jolting sailors on deck. For a moment, silence. Then the captain's voice. Maintain course. Steady. No collision, no shots fired. Victory, in this case, is measured in inches, not explosions. The cameras capture every frame, every reckless maneuver by the opposing side, proof that restraint, not retreat, held the day. The long exhale. By 12:30 p.m., the pressure begins to ease. One by one, Chinese ships pull back, their formations loosening as they drift away from the shoal. The distance widens, 400 yards, 500, then more. On board the Higgins, sailors finally exhale. Damage checks sweep the decks. The tension that gripped every muscle begins to fade. There are no cheers, just quiet relief, and the unspoken understanding that they've just passed through a storm of nerves without a single shot. What it meant. For Washington, the implications are immediate. Allies in Manila, Japan, and Canberra see that the U.S. can stand firm without sparking a war. For Beijing, the message is equally clear. Intimidation met with discipline, propaganda met with proof. And for the sailors aboard the Higgins, the lesson will stay with them forever. In the gray zone between peace and war, the smallest decisions can shape global strategy. The Scarborough Shoal standoff shows that deterrence isn't always about missiles or firepower. Sometimes it's about patience under pressure, about proving that calm can be more powerful than chaos. The unfinished struggle. Scarborough Shoal remains contested. Chinese Coast Guard ships continue to patrol, Filipino fishermen still risk the waters that legally belong to them, and American destroyers like the Higgins will return, again and again to uphold international law. Nothing is settled. Each encounter is a test of resolve, of nerve, of the balance between peace and provocation. So the question lingers. If you were on that bridge, watching the Chinese ships close in, would you hold steady, trusting your training and your principles? Or would you turn aside just to avoid disaster? Because in the South China Sea, every decision echoes far beyond the waves. This was the day China tried to corner the U.S. Navy at Scarborough Shoal and failed to break its composure. If you believe discipline is the truest form of power, hit that like button. And to follow the next chapter in this ongoing maritime struggle, subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. Until then, stay informed, stay vigilant, and remember, peace is kept not only by strength, but by control.